Hello everyone, it's not Sunday. The intro was lying. Yes, yesterday we came home from our holiday and I didn't want to. I was just tired. And today I'm still tired, but we're still gonna do it. Yay! I thought I'd give you a bit of the story what we did. It was a lot of fun. Are we even live yet? It's still thinking. Why is it thinking? Oh, it's working. I get thinking stuff here. It says here it works and it says good connection, but here it doesn't work. Finally, we're 50 seconds late. What? And again? What are we doing? What? YouTube. Now? Yeah, see, it looks like it's working now. Because this typing was just 2 seconds ago. Or 5 seconds ago. Let's see. I think it's working. I stopped streaming and started streaming again. So, like I said, which you didn't hear, gonna go fast to some news, and then I tell you the story of Cindy and me driving 1,700 kilometers within 40 hours with Hank, and it was awesome. And there were tiny little problems, nothing big, but amazing. The chat is actually ahead of the video. It works now for me. After loading, sound is what off? What is what off? The sound is off. Is way off. Yeah, happy Easter Monday. Keep losing sound. It should be working now. Looks good here on the screen. Sound, so it looks good to me here. Everything should be fine now. I said it. It should be okay. But let's go quick through the news because that's awesome as always. First, Xiaomi starts delivering their first car way off delay. Still? I can't hear the live stream. Check it. Sounds fine to me. Aha. Maybe reload the live stream. Yeah. Xiaomi is delivering the new SU7 in China for 27,600 euros, but in China cars are always extremely cheap. Model 3 starts at 245,000 yen, which is, it says it somewhere, 31,000 or something. Yeah, 31,475. It will come with a LFP, 220 kilowatt rear-wheel drive LFP batteries around 74 kilowatt hours. Then there's a second version with a 94, and a third version with a 101 kilowatt hour battery, but they're not LFP. And it will be all-wheel drive 495 kilowatt, which gives it, what was it? I don't think the 5.3 is with the 495 kilowatt, but still, they're delivering it in April. Sound keeps cutting out. I think you have to reload. It's good now after I start the stream. Xiaomi should sue Xiaomi. Sounds so similar. Then Ford Explorer starts at 42,500 euros. There has been the first drives and everything, and extended range battery for 49,500. I'm guessing it's the, where are we batteries? 79 kilowatt hours exactly. Hey, Finnegan is here. He's back. And the other one is, it's an 84 to 79. It's Jerry Avid. 210 kilowatt, a 250 all-wheel drive, so the same as all ID4s and so on. Yeah, this is not true. You don't get that much more torque. 180 though, and what? I'm surprised with the just 2 kilowatt hour difference. Huh. But the different the chemistry in the battery, so hey, again, you get around 140 as with the old ID4 and so on Pro. With this rear-wheel drive version and with the all-wheel drive version, you get the charging power that my ID7 gets, for example. And then this starts with 53. Why did 42? What was the difference? Standard range? Oh, that's it. Monday, oh well, the cat is back. And then Fisker. Doesn't look good for Fisker. If you have bought a Fisker, that's a problem. So far, we're talking to Nissan that maybe that Nissan buys them and then Nissan dealers can do maintenance on the cars. But so far, it doesn't look very good. If they really go bankrupt, that would be bad for people who drive a Fisker. If they need a part or anything, that's bad. And then we look at the Ionity map as usual, very fast. We see Spain and Portugal is building. France is building again. They get more and more. Look at Britain. Everywhere. Awesome. Germany is good. Getting slots down here. In my area, I'm full. We can go through the map here where we went then later because we charged at an Ionity. Where are we? Yeah, I see the one that we charged, and then the rest we charged a bit differently. We can go through this in a second. Yeah, like I said in the beginning, but I'm guessing you didn't hear because of the weird delay here. I'm doing it today because yesterday we came home, which is not, no, we came home on Saturday evening, but then Sunday morning we picked up the dogs and Finnegan, and then in the evening I was, nah. I'm too tired. That won't be a happy thing. So I thought let's do it today. It's Easter Monday. All of you should be at home. It should be holiday. I hope so. It's holiday here. I have this week off. No work this week. Yay! And I thought I'd tell you our trip. How our trip was. Yeah. I go from the start in detail till the end, till we came home. Overall, I have to say, Hank is amazing. We had temperatures between, in the beginning when we drove, it was a bit cold, 3-4 degrees, but then the rest of the trip we were above 10 degrees, sometimes 16-18 degrees, and consumption was amazing. And I don't know the exact consumption, never took a picture, I didn't look at it too much. It was more, how's the range, how can we get to the next charger? And this was possible with a very low state of charge, and very impressive. And charging worked every time. We charged the whole trip, I think 8 times. And it worked every time. The car charged always with a peak. We always arrived under 15%. That's how I do it. And YouTube has problem. It seems audio got out of sync, but Reload fixed it. Nice. And yeah, it was very impressive, very comfortable. For me, the trip was nothing spectacular since I've done 1,000 kilometers in one day, and we did 820 in one day or so. And average speed, including charging, till we got to the city. The city doesn't count because it was traffic, a lot of traffic on Friday, because before Easter. But till we got there, our average speed was way above 100 kilometers an hour, including charging. We did very well. But we start with a problem, because that's always fun. I found a new problem or software issue with Hank. And I don't know if this is fixed in newer version, because there's 4.01 if you get the update that is available for ID7, which I will get on April 10th, where they change my winter tires to summer tires, and then I put on the update. Because there's the update that some light, the ID light, is drawing power from the 12-volt battery when the car is parked. And this can be fixed. Driving on Friday was horrible. So much rain and spray from other cars. Did it rain? It rained a bit, but not too much. So we were lucky. I think it rained at some point, but overall we were very lucky. I think were we ever in the... I think we never charged in the range. SUV should be limited to 100 kilometers per hour in range. Yeah. Yeah, but the problem that I found was the scheduled charging. So I programmed Hank that I was at 45% or so, charged to 50% right away, but then the next morning at 5:30 in the morning I want 100%. And it charged to the 50%, but it kept charging after that. So when I plugged in, and I didn't want it, so I did stop charging. And then it didn't charge anymore, not even in the morning as well. So in the morning we only had 67% state of charge, where I wanted 100% to go on the drive, which is bad. But also the problem is you can't see. So because the charging would have been happening while I was asleep. So I woke up in the morning at 5, a bit before 5, and looked, and I saw it's still at 65% or so, started charging, and then in the 40 minutes or so that before we drove, it charged to 2% and preheated the car. But that was not nice. So I had that before, but I didn't know if this is a common thing. So with ID Software 4.0, not any updates, I don't know if it's fixed then. There's the problem that when you have charge immediately 2, then it doesn't stop charging at that limit. It continues to the 100%. And if you stop yourself, it won't charge at all after that. So that's stupid. Hi, do you know how long it takes to get an ID4 to Ireland after you get the information that the car production number has been allocated in the factory? Oh, I have no idea, I'm sorry. I have no idea how the whole thing happens. I know when my car was done building, so when it was built and ready, it took 2 weeks to get it to Wolfsburg, and they were in a rush for me. They were very nice and put it on an early thing, so I get it very early. But I guess, I don't know, to Ireland. I don't know how it gets to you. What is it, by truck or whatever? I have no idea, and I don't think they will go with just for one car. So there will be more cars and then drive, but I have no idea. I'm sorry, but I'm guessing a month or more. No idea. I'm sorry. So this didn't work, so we started with 67% in the morning, which was a bummer. Cindy didn't notice and I didn't tell her. And in Walter, in my old ID3, this would have been a disaster. With 67%, at 3 degrees it was in the morning, we needed heat. I had the seat heating on, but that's not a big thing. But then to drive highway at 3 degrees, when we charged the first time, it was then 4 degrees. By boat, ooh, then it might take a bit longer then. And maybe I would get with highway speeds 150 kilometers, if even with Walter ID3. But with Hank, we drove with 140. Yeah, I would say constant 140. There was no traffic in the morning at 5 a.m. We started at 5:40. We're 10 minutes late. And then we had to charge a bit earlier than I thought. I had it all programmed out. I didn't use a route planner in Hank because Hank uses every charger, even 150 kilowatt charger, and chargers that cost. How long does it take to build an ID4 in the factory? A week? That all depends where it is built, in Emden or Zwickau. And then it also, mine for example, they started building and then there was the shortage of the motor and the thing closed, so it took a while. If everything is fine, it should take a week, around that, yes, from start to finish. Yes, and where was I? So we charged at Ionity Neumarkt, where I always do it. Where I always charge before. This is the distance at 100% where I could drive with 130 in the winter with Walter, barely get there. And with Hank with 67% at 140, at 3-4 degrees, it was no problem at all to reach that. We charged, oh, I can look. That's true. I can look how much we charged. Because it went really well, not planned, over a few charging sessions. 29th, the first thing, 11 minutes. We charged 11 minutes, 33 kilowatt hours. So really, really fast. What is the peak? That's an amazing peak. 33.32 divided by 11 times 60. That's 181 kilowatt average power. So that's good. Yes, we only charged maybe to 40%, 45 if even. Then we drove on to the next Ionity. So I mapped out where I wanted to go, like I said, myself, because the car uses every charger, not the chargers that are cheap as when you have WeCharge. And it also uses 150 kilowatt chargers, or where there's just one charger, and that's stupid. I did it. I planned everything with a better route planner. I wanted only Aral Pulse and Ionity because they're the cheapest, and I put in I want 6 charging stalls where I'm going. And I knew a few on the route, but I planned a few where I wanted to go. And then since the car wasn't full, I had to change my plan, but it still worked really well. I show you here on the map. So we started here, Passau, and I wanted to charge in Hart Süd. That should be North. That should be here. Exactly. Heid, not Hart. So I wanted to charge here, but because of 67%, we charged here, and then we charged the second one here in Allers Dettelbach, you know, because Dettelbach is very interesting. It has 12 charging stalls, and I wanted to see that. So it was one charging stop more that wasn't planned because the car didn't charge full. And this one here is 300 kilometers away at 3 degrees with heat. With 140 we couldn't have reached that. Maybe with 130, and then it would have been, ooh, how bad is it to battery life if you ignore the recommended 80%? What do you mean if you ignore? So if you always charge to 100%, the battery is just degrading faster. It depends how long you want to keep the car. If you want to keep the car, sorry, for 15-20 years, then I wouldn't recommend it. If you give it to someone else, you will lose more battery capacity if you charge to 100% every day and leave it at 100%. That's the main problem. If you charge to 100% and then use it right away, so it's not a long time at 100%, it's okay. But the more you charge, no, the more you charge is wrong. They tested that. So everyday charging is fine, but charging with high power and charging to a high state of charge, or leaving it at a low state of charge, is not good. Yes, so we charged at the Dittelbach, like I said, and we drove with 140. We drove on with 140. Cindy then drove the next leg. We drove, I think, around Bad Camberg. Yeah, here. There's an Ionity on this side, but not on the other side. There was an EMBW, 12 chargers. Very weird how it was laid out. The layout was very weird, how you get in and how you have to charge, but it was fine, it worked amazing. Then we drove on to Aral Pulse in, where was that? Around Köln. My God, I can't see that. We drove here, Köln, and then I think it was still Köln. It was some Verteilerkreis thing. What's the name? I can't see it on the map here, I'm sorry. I don't know. But then there was the last charging stop, and we charged a bit more. Did you go to Normandy? No. We charged a bit more. We went to Eindhoven in the Netherlands. I said it last week. You didn't listen at all. You didn't care. So I knew that at the hotel I can't charge, and I thought in the city I won't be able to charge since it's a city, so parking and charging, so AC chargers will be occupied and or not working. So I thought, okay, we have to go into the city, outside to the hotel, check in, go back into the city, in the evening go back to the hotel, and then next morning from the hotel to the next charger. So I want to be at least at 30% when we arrive in the city. So we charged a bit more at Aral Puls. What's in Eindhoven? So we charged it at Aral Puls. So we charged it Ionity twice, then EMBW, then Aral Puls. That was the 4 chargers. And like I said, every time amazing charging power. I can see it even here. The next charger was in 13 minutes 32.5 kilowatt hours. So it wasn't that, I guess the state of charge wasn't that low. Next, at the Aral Puls, NBW is somewhere else, but at the Aral Puls we charged a bit more in 19 minutes 44.2 kilowatt hours, because, like I said, I wanted to have a bit more. That was nice. Oops. To have at least 30% when we arrive, and we did that. So we drove into Eindhoven. It was extremely busy. Average speed, like I said, way above 100 kilometers. I would say 105 to 110. We started at 5:40, arrived in the city. What was it? 1:30, something like this. So under 8 hours for 820 kilometers. So what is it, 103 or so kilometers an hour average speed. But then going from the city line to get to where we wanted to park in a city, that was then a hassle. That took 20-25 minutes, and it was very slow. But we also didn't use a lot of charging. That was good. Good evening, everyone. Thanks, Richard. So charging nightly at home. Who's Richard? It's only bad if you leave. That's what I said. That's what I said. So charging nightly at home on 7 kilowatt charger, then driving the following morning, no issues. If you use scheduled charging, so the battery is full right before you leave, it's still not amazing, but better than charging before and then using it the next morning. So leave the battery at 100% overnight. That's not good if you do that every night. Why do you need that? Do you have to drive so far every day? And so we were in the pedestrian zone in Eindhoven. We looked around. We had food. Then we went to Dynamo, the one where we wanted to go, because there was a concert in the evening. So Cindy's favorite band, Breakdown of Sanity, it's a Swiss band. They stopped playing live 7 years ago, because everyone had their private life and their job and their family, and they wanted to focus on that. And then this year they're playing festivals. And festival is usually something you don't play that long, and you play in the afternoon. It's not very good with sound and light. And this is the only headlining show. So they're the ones where people are coming. In Europe, they have 2 or 3 shows in Japan, but this is the only one in Europe. The rest is all festivals. We're going to see them in June at a festival as well. But Cindy so badly wanted to see them in a headlining show. So she booked the flight from Salzburg to Eindhoven. And then we got a different plan where we said we're going to drive together. And that's why we drove with Hank there. And it was an amazing drive. Car worked perfectly. It had the seat heat on or not, whatever we needed. Automatic as always. Massage. We listened to an audiobook. It was extremely quiet. We drove, like I said, constant 140 when it was allowed, when there was no speed limit. Consumption, I have no idea about the consumption. I didn't care. I always looked at the range, and we never charged on the way there, except for the last charger, because I wanted 30% when we arrive. We charged a bit more, like I said, 44 kilowatt hours. The rest we never charged more than to 50%. And to 50% charging power is amazing and fast. Like I said, first few times it was 11 minutes, 13 minutes, and then when we needed more, it was 19 minutes. 19 minutes to charge 44 kilowatt hours. That's pretty good. that was amazing. So the difference from Walter to Hank is amazing when it comes to consumption. Faster speeds when you drive a bit faster. In Walter, always when I went a bit faster, then the consumption was, oh my god, this is bad. And then charging in the beginning 100 kilowatt, then 130 kilowatt, but just for 2 minutes. And then it went, I think I saw once under 100 kilowatt the next day where we charged a bit more for whatever reason we did something. Which has nothing to do with the trip. We just charged a bit more. But it was amazing that that it worked so well, and it's a proper long distance car. It was a lot of fun. It was very easy to do, and worked perfectly, except for what I said with the scheduled charging in the morning that we didn't have 100%. But since except for without that, by the way, we would have, I'm sure, arrived 10 minutes or so earlier. 10 or 15, maybe not 15, but 10. Because the charging would have been different, but we have to drive a bit slower. But we arrived well in Eindhoven, looked at the venue, looked at everything, saw the tour bus. I posted a picture on Instagram where Cindy is in front of the tour bus, and she's also happy. She's so happy. Where are all the pictures? Do I have more pictures of this? Dismiss. I didn't took so many pictures on the way there, did I? No. Yeah. This was the first charging stop in Neumarkt, where we always charge. No, it's the wrong side. Yep. Come on, focus on the thing. Then Cindy was driving one leg for 130 kilometers or so. Then her hands were hot. She had to have the cooling. Then that was already dinner in Eindhoven. Then the bus. And then we are at the concert. What is 173K? My car gets a first TÜV inspection tomorrow. We also do a degradation test. The dealer, are you interested in the result of an ID3 with 173,000 kilometers? Of course I am. Go tell me. Isn't the first inspection of the 2 years? You only have to. You drove 173,000 kilometers in 2 years. Where do you go every day? That's a long. My little e-Golf was driven exactly like that for 3 years by the previous owner, and degradation at that time was very low. I try to only charge to full when I need to, but I don't stress about it. That's what they say. We'll see. Every battery, everything will be a bit different. It's all about that. Yes. So then we went back to the hotel. There was no charger there. We checked in. It was a horrible hotel. 3 years. Why is your inspection after 3? I mean TÜV. It's true. That's after 3 years. It's not the inspection by Volkswagen. It's the government inspection. That's after 3 years. The Volkswagen inspection is after 2 years. And where was I? The hotel was really horrible. Cindy decided for it. I wanted that one in the city. She wanted that because it was 30 euros cheaper. Extremely expensive hotels in Eindhoven at that time. 100 euros for really not a good hotel. But we stayed there for an hour, relaxed, went back into the city. Parking in the city was expensive. The few hours we were at the concert from 6:30 to 10. No, it was later. Almost 11. It cost 18 euros. 18 euros and 70 or something for parking. In the afternoon we were there for it was 80 cents per 15 minutes of parking. But we looked around that area and we saw a few parking and didn't want to stress out too much. We saw others where the hour was 4.20 euros and then 3.90 €, and so we decided for that because it was 3.20 €. And it was in a garage, and there were 4 AC chargers, but they were always occupied, so no way. So we went to the concert. We went through the first two support bands that were okay, and then we met the guitar player of Breakdown of Sanity, and Cindy didn't say anything. She was so shy, and so I talked to him and said hi, and she got a guitar pick from him, and it's a used one. I can see that it was for sure used for a few weeks of guitar playing, so that's nice. Maybe the whole rehearsal for the tour was done with that pick. She was so happy. She has it downstairs. We're gonna frame it and everything. We watched the main band then. It was only an hour that they played, but it was amazing. They played well. It was a good show. And then at 10:30 or so, we went to our hotel and fell asleep dead because we were both up before 5, drove 8 hours, and then the concert, and then finally bed. Next morning, we slept till 6, which is unusual for us, but we were so tired. Breakfast, which was horrible. A hotel wasn't good. And then by then I only had 25 or 24% state of charge left from the 30 that I wanted to have to get into the city the day before. So state of charge was a bit low, and so the way home. I didn't want to on the way home from the concert charge somewhere, and I couldn't find anywhere in the close area to do AC charging. And also AC charging is more expensive with WeCharge Plus than Ionity or Real Pulse. It's 54 cents per kilowatt hour, and the other stuff is 50 cents. So it's cheaper for me to charge at Ionity than on any AC charging, except when I do it with EMBW, or so a different card. And so on the way home, we charged at this Ionity, the first thing. So we were here in Eindhoven. Our hotel was around here, so we drove in from here, the A2, into Eindhoven, into the Centrum, totally in the middle. Where is Dynamo? Oh my God. It was totally in the middle. That wasn't nice. There it is. There's Dynamo. There was the thing. We ate around here. Somewhere here. We parked around here. And so we had to get back out of the city to the hotel, and then back into the city to the concert, and then back to the hotel to stay overnight. And then we went this direction to this Ionity here. Has 6 stalls, am I right? Yes, that's the next picture. That's the picture here in the back that you can see. Do you always plug and charge? At Ionity, yes. At the Real Pulse, I have never tried it if it works. So this was the Ionity in the Netherlands. I always just plug in at Ionity and let it go, and it works. At the Real Pulse, I have never tried it. I don't even know if it works. Maybe it does. I don't know. And then next thing was we charged a bit more at this Ionity because we wanted to look at Koblenz. Koblenz is down here, and so going from here to Koblenz is around 2 hours, 200 kilometers. So we charged a bit more because, again, I wanted to go into the city, not charge with AC, because I looked around. Again, AC in the inner city is not a lot, and it might be in use or not working, or it's too expensive. So I wanted to arrive again with 20-25 something percent, and then charge outside the city on the way then to the next hotel, which is in Frankfurt, or just an hour away. So that's fine. So we charged only to this Ionity, drove down, looked at Koblenz. It was extremely busy. We parked. I even know where we parked because we thought about walking here, but we didn't. We parked at the Aldi Süd here. There was parking on this side. It was also not cheap, but it wasn't too expensive. It was okay. And we went the road down here into Old Town and the whole pedestrian zone. And it was so busy on this Saturday, because the Saturday was the only open day between Easter Friday, Easter Sunday, Easter Monday. and it was so busy that we didn't like it at all, and we left very early. We went this country road up here to Montabaur, there it is, because there's an Aral Pulse charger with, how many were there? 12 charging stalls or so, a lot. And then we looked at the city. The city is pretty neat. This hotel in this city of Montabaur is really nice. We looked around. We had a little castle up there, and very cute little houses. They were built very neatly. If you can see that. Oh, you want it big, eh? How about this? It looked really nice. The whole town looked like this. We liked it a lot. We walked around a lot, and then I felt sick. Not because Bundesgartenschau was nice in Koblenz with cable car, and so Cindy was sick 4 or 5 days before the concert and wasn't 100% perfect. I felt it 1 or 2 days before the concert, but still okay. And then when we walked around in the city in a bit uphill, I noticed, oh, I'm not feeling amazing. I was a bit weak in the knees and a bit dizzy. And then we were, okay, let's charge a bit more. We charged to 90% or so. So we walked around, looked at everything. It was no stress. We just wanted to see a bit and thought, let the car charge. And then we went into the car, drove on to our second hotel. Does plug and charge work on the Referral Pulse? It is what I mean. I have no idea. I thought it does, but I'm not 100% sure. I thought I read it somewhere that it works. And we drove from Montabaur, which is here, down to Frankfurt. Our next hotel, it was up here somewhere. And on the way there, Cindy and I talked, okay, what are our options? You're a bit sick. The option is, it's possible when we go to hotel, we arrive there at 4 p.m. You get even more sick, and then all you do is want to get home, but we have to stay at the hotel. You sleep horrible, and the next morning we have to go 4 hours home. Or we drive home right now. You might be sick and it's horrible to drive all the way home, but then you're home. And so we talked about it, and very fast around here, where we just left the Referral Pulse, we decided we're gonna go home the whole way. And so I sped up. We didn't drive 140 anymore, we drove 150. And so, because it was warm also, it was around 16 to 18 degrees, and I drove a constant 150 when it was allowed. We charged the first time at Referral Pulse in Kremsdorf. This is the video I posted in on Instagram, because it's an amazing charger. It has... It was under, come on, focus, under a roof, and 2, 4, 6, 8, 16 stalls. Under a roof there was an extra lounge for a Referral Pulse thing, a toilet. Cindy drove one leg, like I said, on the way there from 130 kilometer, and she hated it. She was, it's way too stressful, I don't know where to go, I'd never drive on the highway. And so I drove the home, all of it. And I couldn't say where this charger was. I don't remember. Where was the charger? Maybe it was Kremsdorf. There it is. It was here. So we drove all the way from Montabaur, which is where? Here. All the way Frankfurt, Würzburg, down to Kremsdorf. We charged here. Then we drove all the way down to Regensburg to Wörth on the Donau, the EMBW, where I sped up to 160 then, constant. So every time where it was working. And it was no problem at all. Of course, the consumption went up, and the range to get to the next charger was a bit was going down, but there was always a construction zone where we drove 90, 110, 130, and so the 160 was no problem. So we drove with 160 to the discharger, charged here, I don't know, just to get home, 5 minutes or so. I look, where's my EMBW? There it is. Where are my charging sessions? Charging history. So on the way there, we charged 35 kilowatt hours in 13 minutes, which is pretty good. That was on the way there at this weird EMBW. And on the way back, we charged for 8 minutes and 50 seconds, 23 kilowatt hours, and then left home, which is then also only was, I think it was 90 kilometers or so. ID7 comes into its own at autobahn speed. Yeah. So in the winter, if it would have been -5 degrees or so, this wouldn't have been possible at that speed with heat and higher consumption because it's cold. But at the 16, 17, 18 degrees that we had that evening, it was no problem at all. And we drove home from that Montabaur. So a better route planner planned that we will arrive at 9 o'clock and we arrived at 8:30. So I drove half an hour faster than, including charging. Yes, and what I did is, so I use a better route planner to plan the route, because I can say, please only use Referral, Pulse, ENBW, and Ionity, and only use charging locations where are more than 6 charging stalls, so there's no problems. I don't have to think. I don't arrive and then, oh, there are only 4 chargers and all 4 are, or 1 is broken and 3 are in use. I didn't want that. I want at least 6 stalls. And what I have noticed is a lot of Ionity have 4 and a lot of Referral Pulse have way more. So I'm talking 12, 16. So if Referral Pulse is building something, it's a lot, because they do the hypercharger thing where with 1 charger they have 2 charging stalls and then they put 4 there and then you have 8 charging stalls. That was just amazing. And then I used where is the charger, and then I used the Volkswagen navigation because it's the best for driving. Head-up display shows me how far it is to the next charger. I even did the trip, so this charger, then this charger, and then home. And we see when will we arrive at home, and the time went down and down. And of course when we charged, because the charging wasn't included in that time, and but I see head-up display showing me arrows, the augmented reality part. That's way better for long distance driving than if you use a better route planner in Android Auto, where the car just shows in 10 kilometers go right and then in 2 kilometers goes right, but only in the little part of the augmented reality part. ID light is not doing anything and the augmented reality part is not doing anything. And with the normal navigation, you drive and then suddenly it shows you big thing in 2 kilometers, you have to go to the right, the ID light is doing something, the arrow is shining, then you look at the map, it's true. It's way better to see. You don't need sound. You can just spot it, and it was so easy. It worked really well. So one time I drove wrong and then it turned out to be better. I had to go to the right and then I was too late because I was occupied with something. And then I didn't do it, and then it turned out it was way better to not do that, because we still had in the navigation the hotel that we didn't go to in Frankfurt. So we lost that money for that hotel, but we got home at 9:30 or 8:30. 8:30. I got home at 8:30 p.m. and then unpacked everything, showered, and we were in bed at 9:30. And I slept till stupid time change. And then next morning we got all the dogs and Finnegan here from my parents. And then yesterday I went to bed at 10 and slept till 8 this morning, so 10 hours. I needed that. But driving long, this is something I noticed. Driving Walter for long was okay. I remember my first long drive to Wolfsburg, 600 something kilometers in 7.5 or 8 hours with charging in the winter in December. And at some point it's okay, I want to get home. And with Hank, it was totally fine. With self-driving, self-steering, distance, the head-up display, the amazingly comfortable seat. I had the massage function on, especially the what is it, pelvis something, where it does this to me. Oh, it was amazing. Cindy was comfortable too the whole time. And we both have different temperatures. Sometimes she's hot, sometimes she's cold. So that was very nice. We enjoyed the trip, even though we drove on the way there. It was 800 and at the end 820 kilometers and so. And on the way home, I think it was 700. It should have been 750, but it was more. It was a bit more because we did something different. For the ENIAC, you have to buy an extra package worth 7,500 euros to get the AR HUD now. Woo! Jesus. Yeah, it's a lot. Nah, but this was the first long trip with Cindy ever. The longest trip before was to Dresden, 5 hours, a bit over 5 hours with Walter, where we had to charge twice. And even though I drove Hank many times before, it's still astonishing how fast the charging stops are over. I mean, when you look at the times, 11, 13 minutes, or one time 19 minutes, and that only because I wanted to reach the next charger at the ending with 30% and not with 10. If the hotel would have had a charging, AC charging at the hotel, we would have arrived with 15% or so. Or in the city, where we don't have to go outside of the city, then of course. But we had a weird plan, and I wanted to have 30% when we arrive in the city, and we achieved that. And then the next morning, with driving 2 times back and forth, which was around 20 kilometers or so, then we had 24 or something, 23, I can't remember. But we arrived the next Ionity charger and no problems. I mean, the range at 50% is, even at highway speeds, at 140 is above 200 kilometers. And it really does it. It's not a number that you see and like, oh, no. We drove on the way there with the 140, like I said, and I always charged 50 kilometers more than we needed to get, so more range than what the car said that we need range. So if it was 180 kilometers there, we charged to 230 kilometers of range, which was then 53%, and we arrived no problem. Only one time when we arrived at Koblenz, we arrived with 15%, and then we had to get out of the city to that Aral Puls, 30 kilometers away, and it was uphill, and we arrived with 5%. That was the only one where it was a bit, well, still no problem, but I didn't want to speed like crazy, but it was country road. I couldn't drive 110 only anyways. And that was fine. But we were both very happy how Hank performed. I was always giving him a little pat on the back because it's a gigantic car. We didn't need the space. We had our suitcase in the trunk. There was still space. We had a fan if the hotel is too hot, and it was, and some food and everything. The rear seats were totally empty. We didn't have too much, and so we don't need that space, but the consumption was amazing, and the range and the charging was just incredible. So more than I thought it would be. So I didn't film anything, and usually when I film, I plug in, I film in German, in English, film how the trip was there, and how the charging is, and and then I still have to wait a minute or two. And this time I didn't film, we plugged in, we talked a bit, we ate, I programmed the next trip or so and saw, oh, we only need a few minutes. We went to pee and we drove on. 11 minutes, a pause or a break on a drive for 11 minutes or 13 minutes is when you eat something as a driver and drink and look around and wanna pee. That's over in no time. So most of the times it was, how long do we have to charge? A question from Cindy, and I said, oh, we can go now, and stop charging, and then we went, and it worked. So yeah, so the ID7 is truly, especially of course in the summer. In the winter, everything would have been longer. So either drive slower or charge a bit longer. Normal with heat having higher consumption and with cold temperature. But Hank with A. I can only say this is a machine and yes, it's a bit late. I mean, I drove the Model 3 long range from Matthias a few years ago, and I would say it was the same in the summer. It was in June, I remember that, when I did the 1,000 kilometers, and it was the same experience because the consumption was so low, even though I drove fast, and it charged at Ionity with 180 kilowatt, 181 I think was the peak because of the 500 amp limit. And it didn't charge at a supercharger because back then Ionity was very cheap for me, 30 cents per kilowatt hour. And I also didn't have time to do anything. I filmed a bit and then, oh my God, I can already go. And you might say, why do you charge so little, so not a long time? What if you charge longer and drive further? And yes, that's true, but it takes longer. When you charge not to 50%, but let's say you need 35-40% of your battery to get to the next charger. And to get to the next charger, in Germany right now, the charging situation is good. I can't complain. So everywhere where we charged, I looked before on the map, is there anywhere else we can charge in the area if the chargers don't work or are all occupied, so that we don't have to, oh my God, our range is so low, what do we do? I didn't want that stress, so I looked, is there something else where we can charge as well? And I mean always 300 kilowatt chargers, not 150. That's just crap. And there was always something in the area. At one point we had the Ionities, 12. Then there was Aral Pulse, at least 4 or maybe even 8 Tesla superchargers. And maybe there was EMBW as well. It was a lot of stuff. So charging infrastructure in Germany is better, but it's not every 20 kilometers like in Norway. In Norway, I think it's different. You can have a high power charger at every exit, at every parking on the highway or so. In Germany, it's not that way. It's still, there's a lot here, then there's nothing, there's a bit here, then you have one charger here. I wanted, like I said, at least 6 charging stalls so I can always get a charger, no problem. And by the way, even though it was Easter weekend, on the way there and back, no charger was ever full. We had the EMBW charger on the way there. There were a lot. I would say there were 12 stalls or so, and maybe 8 or 9 were occupied, but still okay. It was just a weird layout. It was a hypercharger, but on the side. So, and you can only go in one direction, from one direction in. And so if a lot of cars have the charging plug on the right, then they can only charge on the right side, and the one on the left only on the left side. But then if the right side was all occupied, you have to go to the left and then you have to turn around. This is a one-way street. It was really weird. They should have done it in a different way, but we just drove the wrong way in and took the first charger and it worked, and we weren't there long anyways. So I noticed, by the way, that we were always coming later than most cars that were there, and we were leaving earlier than them. So we saw a lot of ID4s and other cars charging. But we came, charged for, like I said, 11 to 15 minutes, if even, and we were gone. And others were already there and charged more. So a lot of people still charge to 70, 80%. And when you do something, so I don't know, go for dinner or anything, that's totally fine. But if you want to go to get to your destination, that's not the plan. It's way better. Like I said before, this is where I totally went off topic, huh? If you need 35%, 40% to your next charger, you need another 40% to the next charger. The next charger is not 10 or 15% closer or so. That's why I did it like this. I planned my route with a better route planner with 6 stalls at Alpos. I on it here in BW, and it told me that route, this is the fastest to get to your destination. And I played around with it. I didn't trust it, so I put out that it should use just those chargers. I said use 4 charging stalls. Is it faster? It wasn't. What if I don't use Ionity and I'll put it in EMBW, just use any charger you want? Then it was 5 minutes faster or so, but it wasn't worth it, that it's more expensive. So we chose this route and it worked perfectly. And we even could switch around. So on the way back, like I said, we wanted to go to the hotel, but we said that let's go home. I told Cindy, get the phone, open a better route planner, put in the state of charge we have right now. I don't know what it was, 85% or so. And then put in home and press, say arrive with 10% and press calculate or plan. And then it did it. It showed us the 2 chargers. So from Montabaur home were 2 charging stops. And this is, how far is that? Should be way above 500 kilometers. Let's see, where's Montabaur? There it is. Yes. No. Where are we? 517, and I was at 90% then. So I used 80% because I wanted to be, yeah, there was construction in the middle there, that's annoying. So I want to arrive with 10%, so we charged twice and very, very short. Like I said, what did I say? First time on the 30th. 12 minutes, 29.5 kilowatt hours. And EMBW, where are you? Charging history. The last time was the 9 minutes with the 23 kilowatt hours. That's all we used to get there. The only time where we charged really high was at the Aral when we looked at the town. And then, like I said, I didn't feel well and we decided to go home and it was no problem. And I thought so because I knew the car is great and it's warm and we drove fast. And usually when you drive an EV, so with Walter it was always that way when I thought, ooh, I want to go faster. But then the range went down so fast that next time charging, I remember, like I said before, when I drove the first time to Wolfsburg for the ID4 media drive, I drove 130 to 140 on the highway. In December, it was mid-December, so at around 3 degrees. It was a bit wet, not raining, but a bit wet. And I had to go to the next charger, 170, 180 kilometers with a bit of safety, 40 kilometers or so. I had to charge over 80%. And then you charge with 50 kilowatt or so. And so you stand there for 30 minutes. And like I said, here it's 9 to 15 minutes to charge at least safety 200 kilometers of range, but in March, not in the winter. So in the winter, of course, it's 10% more, 15%, I don't know. I'm driving from London to Amsterdam tomorrow night. That's pushing the comfortable distance for a single trip for us. I love our e-Golf, but I'm looking forward to something better at road trips. E-Golf with that charging power, and what we get 35 kilowatts and a 35 kilowatt hour battery. So what is that right now? 150 kilometers of range. Who's there? I hear a dog. Hey, Rudy. You smell the food? You smell the cat food? He's so cute. You're so cute. Yes, you are. Go stretch a bit. Yeah. So they always saying that ID3 is a good car. A bigger battery is something great, but when you have a low consumption as well, the step from ID3 to ID7 for us, I saw it on this trip, is gigantic in everything. In quietness, we drove, like I said, 140 there, 150, 160 back. It's still quiet in the car. We're listening to audiobook and music. It doesn't have to be loud. It was extremely comfortable. The seats were comfortable. We had no issues with, oh, my back hurts or anything. Had the massage on, seat in automatic heat or cooling. So when I was warm, it was cooling me automatically. And when the seat was cold, it was heating. Amazing. We had no software issues. We used the Spotify app. Spotify app doesn't work very well, but on this trip it was okay. After about 3 stops. Next e-golf, Golf 9 will be interesting. Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, so, but low consumption, amazing comfort, and amazing charging. Yeah, I have to say, yes, the ID4 Pro has a good charging curve where it stays above 100 kilowatt till 70 something percent, almost 80, but the peak is only 140, but still good. For a long distance trip where you don't charge very high, I think the GTX or the ID7 charging curve is better. I saw that with the ID5 GTX when we drove to Copenhagen. We arrived with 15%, charged to maximum of 60%. Until then, the charging of the GTX ID7 battery is better. And with the ID7, we didn't have to charge to 60%. Like I said, I think maximum was where we went on to the next charger, not where we just let it charge. It was maximum maybe to 55% or so. Didn't need that. The best part when a road trip with EV, you are fresh and relaxed thanks to charging stops. Yeah, that's getting little though, because with the charging stops are so fast, and when I'm filming, it's stressful because filming takes 10 minutes to prepare everything, film it in German and English. This time I didn't do it, so that was way better. But you still have to go to pee. And it was always faster done than I thought it would be. I don't know, I had this mindset still on this trip, like with Walter. With Walter, so many times I plugged in, and then for half an hour I was just doing nothing. Even though when I was live streaming and filming, it was still time. And now it's you plug in, it starts plug and charge. We went for a pee. Planned the next route, how long do we have to charge, and then, oh, we're already done. And then we left. It's done so fast. I predict with this progression in charging and consumption in 2 car generation, there will be no difference to ICE. I don't think there's a difference right now, unless you drive like a crazy person. So a normal car with 100 that drives 130, I think is almost no difference than an EV that drives 140 or so. Where the charging power is so good that you can drive faster, so you're still faster at the arrival, at the destination. If some car is driving 200, then of course it's faster if the traffic lets you drive that fast. Volkswagen is very lucky for ID7. They raised the limit for company cars to 70,000 euros with beneficial 0.25 taxation. Yeah, I heard that. My last trip was 760 kilometers and 30 minutes charging break. ABD, a short P-stop at a mall. I drove the rear-wheel drive Polestar 2 long range. You drove 760 kilometers with 1 charging stop? Did you drive 100? That would be with the Polestar 2 that has not the lowest consumption, that would be very, very good. With one charging stop driving, so you drove 400 kilometers and then 360. Then you drove very, very slow. Huh? Yeah, by the way, Polestar, there's one coming tomorrow. Polestar 2024 single motor should be coming tomorrow. They tried to call me, but I wasn't home because I was away. And then when I called back, there was a weird message that it's an institute for research. And I was, huh? That sounds weird. Yeah, it was weird. Yes, to what? To slow driving? Yeah, in Holland, highway speed is 100. What the? It's like nothing. You're not moving. Even 130 in Germany is okay and better than just driving 100. And nobody drove the speed limit in the Netherlands. So where we were on the highway, I drove 110 on the speedometer, which should be 107 on the highway, and we were past the whole time. Some people drove like crazy, I would say 150 or so. Then on a German highway, I wasn't past that many times. At 160 then. At night it might be more than 100. What are we talking about? What was the 100 thing? At night it might be. There were things where it says from thing to this time it's 100, and then from this to this time it's 120. But when we drove, it was always the 100 time, and everybody drove faster than we did. Not everybody, but almost. A lot of people passed us. So nobody cared. I drove in Canada. In Canada, it's also a speed limit of 100 on the highway, but trucks as well. So everybody drives 100. And that's very relaxing because nobody is speeding. Everyone drives in the same speed with 100. That was nice. But it takes a long time to drive. I drove 370 kilometers and arrived with 37% at the first stop, lunch, and 30 minutes charging in Tesla supercharger. Yeah, but you drove slow. You can't tell me that a Polestar 2 drives 370 kilometers, even in the summer, 63%. With highway speed, so with 120. I don't think so. But still amazing, still great. Between 17 and 6, it's 130. On the highway that we were, it says 120, but we never drove at that time. Only once, that's true. And then it was 100, that lag that we drove. But next morning, it was already between 6 and 7, so it was over. But still, come on, 100, it's nothing. Okay, how long did we do? It was a long time. We only did an hour. Mostly back roads. That means 50, 60? Well, let's say, how long did it take you to get there, the 760 kilometers? 10 hours then? In Norway, speeds are low. No, but this was nice. Getting there in, like I said, 8 hours for 750 kilometers, but one-time charging, that wasn't necessary, and one-time charging more because I wanted more state of charge at the end. And then the way home was totally nice. Foo! That was very, very nice. It was a lot of fun. Yes, this week I still have to do 14.4. Yes, he drove 50. He doesn't say it. That's okay. What was I saying? So this week I'm off. I will make my video that I will go full-time YouTube tomorrow, I think, and then upload it in the next days. Then, like I said, tomorrow, he does not want to say the time. It's okay, come on. It's all fine. Polestar is a great car. It comes tomorrow, and I have it for a week, and then I get the Polestar all-wheel drive for 10 days. Then ID4 is coming. Then BMW is coming. So from now on, from tomorrow on till end of May, I have cars. So Hank will be in the hands of Cindy for the next 2 months. Next week on, like I said, on Wednesday, I have appointment to get the tires changed on Hank, and they will put on the update 4.01. 13 hours, I think. Ooh, that's a long time for 760. That's an average speed of 50, of 60. Ooh. At Friday, it took me 3 hours for 200 kilometers because of the shitty weather. Yeah, that's also crap. If you can't drive because of weather, yeah, that. Where was that? I was somewhere else where it was on the way home from Hamburg, where it was raining very strong and the consumption went up so high. When we drove with the Skoda Enyaq 85, consumption went way up, and it was very, especially at night. A strong rain, it's very exhausting to drive. But I drove with Matthias and we changed after each charging, and then it was fine. But Hank did well. I'm very happy. It's a proper long distance car for Germany to get fast to your destination. Winter, of course, because of no heat pump, it's a bit less that I would want to, but I didn't take the heat pump. In the summer, it should be 24 degrees this Sunday, but I have to test the Polestar too. Do both range tests, and it will be a great number since it's going to be nice and warm. But when the next time when it's going to be warm the whole day, I want to do a Hank range test at 130, 110, and then at some point I want to do a 90 test and see if I can get to 600 kilometers, because I got to 550 with the ID4. So I think it's possible, and it will be my longest drive ever, one single drive without charging. That would be amazing, but I want to wait for the summer, so in June or so, or maybe May when it's a bit warmer. But that's it for me. Thank you all, 60 people. We didn't do the like game because nobody's here, and I get it. It's on a weird day, on a Monday. It's raining now, yeah. This week at home, like I said, I do my video of the full-timeness and then drive the Polestar a bit. What live stream? What live stream? And I have to do a bit of yard work. I have to change the wire for our mowing robot, because last year there are a few spots where it always gets caught and doesn't move on because the corner is weird, and then at some point it made a hole because it couldn't go on, and so I have to change the wire so it doesn't go in this area, and then it can just go all the time. And I have to do it on several locations. Then I have to get the stuff we cut down in November, put it somewhere else. Yeah, and then I have to mow the lawn at all, because it's again, I already did that, but now I have to do it again, and it's so high that's too much for the robot. I don't want it to escape. No, you need the wire so that the mower knows where it has to mow, so it doesn't go over that. So there's a current flowing through, and with magnetic thing it knows, this is how far I can go, and it doesn't. It's stupid. The new ones, but they're expensive, around 1,000–1,500 euros. They don't need a wire at all. You just put them in there, and with cameras or with GPS location, you tell them where the yard is, and they just mow, and they do even rounds. So make like you would do with your lawnmower. And this one that I have, you do a wire around, and you put it in and say start, and it just goes till there's a wire, and then it turns randomly and goes. And so it takes 4 or 5 goes till everything, so 5 times the battery depletion till everything is mowed. It takes a long time. Today is second Sunday of the week, yeah. That is correct. Yep. But this week is off, and I just want to focus on the, like I said, the yard. Do this also. This is done in the holiday, so I don't have to deal with it when I'm working next Monday again. Then next Monday it's April, and it's week 15, and then I stop working at my company in week 22. So only 7 weeks then, and 1 week of this I have holidays again. So I'm only working 6 weeks, and week 22 there's a holiday where only will work 1.5 days. So if you take it on work, and then we have 3 holidays in May, so I'm working only 5 weeks. I work 15 full, 16, 17, 18 is a holiday, 19 is a holiday, 20, 21 I have off, and 22 is a holiday again. Ha! Yep, up, up. It's getting stressful. I have to do, but the thing is, I have a lot of cars now, but I don't have too many cars after I'm in full time. So but I will start doing all the more work when it's time to do that. So far, everything's working amazing. Income, YouTube, both channels are still. But what is the new small job? I'm working at Cindy's company 1 day a week on a computer, e-commerce. So they're selling stuff, and I'm putting in stuff like this, or the shop update products and stuff like this. Do that for 8 hours or 7.5, and then go back home 1 day a week. That's all. And I still have holidays, 4 weeks of holidays. I can still be sick if there's something. I still get money. But now, from June on, I have to health insurance by myself. No company employee is paying half of it. I have to do the whole thing. Yeah, the greatest thing is this. I didn't tell you that. They already found someone who's replacing me. He's coming May 1st. And he gets more money so per hour than I ever got. That's awesome, huh? Isn't this a nice company? Where you work for 5 years, and you asked a few times for a raise, and I got twice 5% or so. And in the beginning, I asked for more, and they said no. And now someone new is coming, and they're in stress mode. What if he's gone, and then nobody's there, and then they pay him way more? Yeah. That's how it is. Hello, what state of charge you keep daily when you usually plug in your car if you don't have to drive long trip? Thanks. Always 80%. And for a while, I saw a video from Engineering Explained. You should check that out, where he's talking about the charging tips that he saw on different channels where they tested batteries many times, charged them every day to 100%, leave them at 100% and other stuff, and that they measured the degradation, and that company found out that batteries right now in EVs like to be charged every day. The thing is, don't get the state of charge too low, and don't charge above 80%. And it's better to charge every day from 70 to 80 than it is to charge once a week from 10% to 80 or so. That's what they have found with the degradation of the batteries. I'm pretty sure with every battery type that's a bit different, every chemistry. I did for a few weeks, charged every day. But after a while, I just stopped, and I drive down to 30% or so, and then charge. But I never charge above 80% at home, only for a long distance trip. And even on Friday, I only charged to 67%. We never, on the whole trip, we only charged one above 90%. Oh yeah, that sounds too familiar. Okay, I'm gonna go. I'll leave you be. Thanks for being here. Lars Peter already wrote 2,000 things. I checked my Google now. 9.5 hours. You just said 13 hours. How is this different? Oh, this is how long it takes without, if you drive normally? Or what is it? I charged 95%, so at HPC. Do whatever you want, it's fine. At those battery farms, they charge around 50% and constantly charging and discharging in small doses. 20 to 54% or something like that is theoretically best. I think it's different with every battery, and he even said, engineering explained at the end, don't care about it, charge however you want, it will be fine. So it degrades a bit more, but it's not going to be like 50% of your battery capacity. I do what Volkswagen tells me. They say not above 80% daily and not too low in the winter, not under 20%. And I don't want that anyways. I have to heat up the car and everything. By the way, totally forgot. On the way to the first charger on my trip, I had the preheat navigation to charging thing on. It worked perfectly. Hey, Rico. It worked perfectly on the rest of the trips. I didn't have to use it anymore. It was just warm. So because the battery temperature of the ID7 only does have to be at 25%, I have skin falling off here. It was very nice. We will see how the 153 battery held up. Yeah, it's true. It all depends how he drove and how he charged. And then it could be not a lot. I still want to ask Volkswagen where my ID3 is. That would be very interesting. Okay, can you post a link to that info? It's Engineering Explained. It was a video not long ago. I would say 2 months ago. Engineering Explained. Channel. Videos. This channel, and it is Don't Do This. How to ruin your electric car's battery. 3 common mistakes. Was it that? Was it this one? It was 2 months ago. Sounds about. Electric cars have many. Yeah, is it that? Yeah, it explains what happens to the battery when you charge, what cracks, what breaks down, and then he goes through the whole his source and everything. Yeah, here lithium ion degradation, lithium ion cycle study, all of this. And I like him a lot, so I believed him. Okay, but that's it. I'm going now. I'm gonna go down, watch a bit of television, go to bed, sleep long because it's holidays. That's what you do on your holidays. And then I want to get rid of this skin here, falling apart. Okay, see, you're still a bit delayed, but that's fine. You all take care. I see you next Sunday. And by the way, I want to talk to you if we can do this little Let's Talk EV once I'm full-time on a different day, because Sunday will be a very busy day. I will film a lot on Sunday, driving trips. And so it would be nice to do that on a different day. So maybe on the Saturday or on the Friday. We'll see. I will ask you. I will do a poll at some point, not on the live stream, but on the site, and then we'll see. Bye bye.